After leading the team for 8 years, I finally developed a specific drug for gastric cancer. At the celebration banquet, I planned to reveal my secret marriage with the CEO's wife, Meng Qing. However, she attended the event with her first love, beaming with joy. Let me introduce everyone to Dr. Su Xiuyuan, who has just returned from studying abroad and will be serving as the director of our Pharmaceutical Research Institute. Please welcome him. After the thunderous applause, Su Xiuyuan held Meng Qing's hand tenderly and said, "Qing, I can finally stay by your side." Hearing this, Meng Qing's face turned slightly red as she said, "Thank you for coming." Their hands remained clasped together, while everyone teasingly cheered. Watching the loving couple, I walked straight onto the stage and threw the research director's badge at Su Xiuyuan. "Congratulations to Dr. Su on becoming the new director. Since you're so happy, why don't you two get married to celebrate?" "Congratulations on becoming the new dean, Dr. Su. Since we're all so happy, why don't you two get married to celebrate?" I tossed the Research Institute director's badge onto Su Xiuyuan and said with a smile. When Meng Qing saw my action, she became furious. "Cui Yifan, what nonsense are you talking about? Can't you see? CEO Meng, I'm stepping down." I looked at them coldly, but my heart was bleeding. I never thought that right after the special medicine was successfully developed, I would be kicked aside, and by my own wife no less. "Cui Yifan, today is the company's celebration party. You'd better not cause trouble," Meng Qing said to me through gritted teeth. I couldn't help but laugh. So she still remembers that today is the company's celebration party. But isn't this celebration party being held for the special anti-gastric cancer drug that I spent 8 years developing day and night? But what is she doing? She's letting Su Xiuyuan replace me, making me transfer the results of my hard work to her first love. Seeing the awkward situation, colleagues came forward to smooth things over. After all, during these 8 years, I led the team in the laboratory researching drugs. Everyone witnessed my dedication and hard work in research. Moreover, Meng Qing was the company's CEO, and the consequences of offending the CEO were predictable. But I didn't care at all and left after finishing the celebration drink. Walking on the street, I felt increasingly desolate. All these years, for Meng Qing's dream, we kept our marriage a secret. According to Meng Qing, she didn't want our relationship to cause gossip in the company and affect the research progress. But now looking back, I gave a bitter smile. Walking disheartened in the night, unexpectedly, my stomach condition flared up halfway. For the research of anti-gastric cancer drugs, I often worked irregular hours and had irregular meals over TH's 8 years, which resulted in severe stomach problems. I collapsed by the roadside in pain, my thoughts drifting to the past. Back then, Meng Qing and I were both medical students. I was in my second year of graduate school, and she was a junior. We met at a medical debate. Because of my outstanding talent, she often came to me for advice, and gradually, we got together. Initially, my research focus was on eye diseases and vision problems, but after Meng Qing's mother passed away from stomach cancer, I changed my research direction. At that time, Meng Qing held my hand, crying helplessly, "Why does stomach cancer exist in this world? Yifan, if only there was a specific cure for stomach cancer." Because of that one sentence from her, I researched tirelessly for 8 whole years. I love her, so I wanted to fulfill her wish. I also wanted all stomach cancer patients to regain their health. For this wish, I worked desperately hard and gave everything I had. But in the end, the honking of a DD car interrupted my thoughts. Meng Qing was driving, with Su Xiuyuan sitting in the passenger seat. "Brother Yifan, why are you walking here alone? Where are you going? Let's go together." Su Xiuyuan's tone was warm, but his eyes couldn't hide the provocation. My stomach was hurting badly, and I didn't want to argue. But my silence, in Meng Qing's eyes, was an insult to Su Xiuyuan. "Cui Yifan, what are you being difficult about? You've been acting strange since the banquet started. Xiuyuan is a medical PhD who studied abroad. Is this how you treat guests? I know I didn't tell you in advance about stepping down as the Research Institute director, but there was a reason. I'll explain when we get back. Qing, don't be angry. Brother Yifan probably means no harm. He's just unhappy seeing me with you. Maybe I should leave first." "How can that be?" Meng Qing snorted coldly. Sweat seeped from my forehead, and my hand holding my stomach was losing strength. I didn't want to listen to them at all. I just wanted to get to the hospital quickly. Just as I was about to speak, I was interrupted by Su Xiuyuan's phone call. "What? Mimi has an upset stomach. Is it serious? All right, I'll head back right away." Su Xiuyuan hung up the phone and anxiously looked at Meng Qing. Qing, Mimi isn't feeling well. Could you drive me back?" "Okay," Meng Qing replied. Without sparing me a glance, the engine started, and they drove away. Watching the direction where the car disappeared, I closed my eyes in despair. After a while, I took out my phone and dialed the National Research Institute. "Director Gao, I've made up my mind. I'll report for duty next month. Years ago, When I was pursuing my doctorate, my advisor had recommended me to the National Research Institute, but I declined his kindness for Meng Qing's sake. Later, while researching gastric cancer drugs at Eng Qing's family company, I also studied some medications to alleviate its complications. At that time, Director Gao from the institute appreciated my work and had tried several times to recruit me, even though the offers were tempting and I really wanted to pursue that opportunity. But for Meng Qing's sake, I never agreed. I gave everything for her dream, only to end up with such an outcome. Now, there's nothing left here worth staying for. Thinking of this, I made another phone call. Mr. Song, I have a patent to sell to you. After getting in at the hospital, I sat in the hallway with the imaging report, couldn't help but smile wryly. Stomach cancer. How ironic. I devoted myself to researching anti-stomach cancer drugs, only to end up getting stomach cancer myself. When I saw the report, I collapsed into a chair at the hospital. At that moment, from the corner of my eye, I saw Meng Qing hurriedly supporting Su Shuyuan as they approached. Why are you here? Seeing me, Meng Qing seemed very surprised. Fighting through the pain, I said coldly. My stomach was feeling unwell, came to get some medicine. What brings you here? Meng Qing frowned, glanced at Su Shuyuan, and casually explained. On our way back, we ran into a chain car accident. Shuyuan got hurt trying to save me. I glanced at Su Shuyuan's hand and smiled lightly. Indeed, you should see a doctor when you're hurt. Thank you for your concern, Brother Yifan. It's just a minor scratch on my hand. There was only a slight red mark on Su Shuyuan's hand, with a wound so tiny it was barely visible. If you had come any later, the wound would probably have healed already. I couldn't help but mock. Hearing my words, Meng Qing became irritated. Cui Yifan, what are you being sarcastic about? Shuyuan needs his hands for experiments. We can't risk any accidents. Meng Qing looked at the report in my hand, frowning as she was about to speak. But she was interrupted by Su Shuyuan's pained voice. Qing Qing. Meng Qing quickly supported him, giving me a cold glare. I'm taking Shuyuan to see a doctor. You should go home. After speaking, Meng Qing didn't wait for my response and hurriedly took Su Shuyuan to find a doctor. Someone who didn't know better might think they were the couple, while I was just an outsider. At this point, let them enjoy their happy days for a while longer. Leaving the hospital, I returned to the home I shared with Meng Qing. Couple water cups, couple t-shirts, first anniversary photos, graduation ceremony photos, wedding photos. These were all chosen together with Meng Qing, and after marriage, she carefully placed them in the memorial cabinet. But the cabinet door lock has long been covered in dust, and our relationship has also deteriorated. When did it start to change? Probably since Su Shuyuan first contacted her after returning to the country. We used to do experiments together, commute together. When facing difficulties, we encouraged each other, promising to conquer cancer. Later it turned into her frequent business trips, attending various academic conferences with Su Shuyuan. But I believe in Meng Qing. I believe in our love. Yet I never expected. True feelings can really change in an instant. I took out all these things and threw them into the trash bin. At this moment, Meng Qing suddenly called. Yifan, I just finished the checkup with Shuyuan. Nothing serious, but he wants to resume work soon and plans to work overtime at the company. You know he just arrived and isn't familiar with everything, so I need to accompany him. I'll come back after the party. I couldn't be bothered to care anymore, after I had sorted everything out. But I received many photos of Meng Qing and Su Shuyuan on my phone. There were photos of them watching movies together, riding the Ferris wheel together, and drinking on the same bed. Cui Yifan, if you're a real man, leave Qing Qing as soon as possible. She doesn't love you at all. See? Whenever I want, she can become my woman. Below were some more unspeakable words. Without a doubt, these were sent by Su Shuyuan. Although I thought I no longer cared, seeing these still caused a twinge of pain in my heart. The next morning when I woke up, Meng Qing wasn't there. As expected, I contacted a lawyer to draft divorce papers, applied for resignation from the company, and booked a high-speed rail ticket home. Now, my only concern is my mother back in my hometown. After my father passed away 2 years ago, I wanted to take care of my mother, but she refused to move to the city, preferring to stay in the home she shared with father, so I didn't insist. After joining the National Research Institute, it would be at least several years before I could return, so I wanted to spend more time with her before leaving. As soon as I arrived home, Mother came to greet me. Why are you alone? Why didn't Qing Qing come with you? Seeing my mother's concerned expression, I remained silent for a while before painfully telling her everything. After hearing what I had to say, Mother looked at me with sympathy, then earnestly asked, Are you really sure about this? Yes, the divorce is final, and I'll be going to the National Research Institute soon. I might not return for several years, and you're my biggest concern. Don't worry, I'm in good health, Mother said with a smile. She was happy to hear about my position at the National Research Institute and supported my decision about the divorce. During these days spent with Mother, I rarely experienced the warmth of home. During this time, Meng Qing called me. asking why I wasn't at home. I told her I went back to my hometown to see my mother, and she didn't ask anything further. Well, her heart had long since drifted away from me. Just after finishing my evening routine, I casually scrolled through my phone and saw Su Shiyuan's social media post. The caption read, "Accidentally became trending." The attached photo was of them being caught on camera by a live-streaming influencer at the amusement park. Netizens were amazed by the handsome man and beautiful woman and quickly dug up their identities. A rising medical genius and a beautiful CEO, netizens said they were shipping them hard. If I weren't the husband of one of the parties involved, I probably would have thought they made a good match too. I casually liked the post and went to bed, as tomorrow would be my first day at the National Research Institute. I completely missed the flashing light on the bedside phone. Early the next morning, I saw Meng Qing's missed calls and WeChat messages from last night. "Yifan, are you back from your hometown? I've been at the company with Xu Yuan these past few days. You know, he just returned to the country and isn't familiar with many things. Plus, he's just taken over the lab work and is under a lot of pressure. I only took him to the amusement park to help him relax. Don't mind it. There's a problem with the research now. Could you come over?" Looking at Meng Qing's message, I let out a cold laugh. Although the anti-cancer drug research was successful, without me, others couldn't easily reproduce it. When there were no problems, they were in their own little world, but now that there's trouble, they think of me. After returning home, I left the divorce papers on the bedroom table and left. As for their research problems, I smiled and thought, why should I care? At this moment, Meng Qing and Su Shiyuan were in complete chaos. How did this happen? Why is the drug fusion effect different? I followed the formula's dosage exactly for the fusion. Su Shiyuan broke down as he watched his experiments fail time after time. The staff on the side were also quite resentful. When Director Cui followed the formula to prepare the medicine, it was successful. How could there be so many failures now? If you don't have the skills, don't take on the job. Look at how many things have been messed up. Maybe these returnees from abroad have lost their touch, can't even swim anymore. All right, stop talking. Why are you still standing here? Quickly go find Cui Yifan. Hearing others' comments about Su Shiyuan, Meng Qing had no time to defend him as she anxiously wanted to solve the problem. After all, this was the company's biggest investment project in recent years, and whether they could attract major investments depended on this technology. But Director Cui resigned yesterday, and you personally signed the resignation letter. The secretary weakly spoke up. When did I agree? Before she could finish speaking, Meng Qing remembered that she did sign a document yesterday. At that time, the secretary mentioned something about resignation, but she was in a hurry to meet Su Shiyuan at the amusement park and signed it casually, without paying attention. Meng Qing suddenly felt anxious and hurriedly started making phone calls. She tried dozens of calls, but none went through. You stay here and continue the research. I'll go find him. As soon as Meng Qing left the lab, she ran into the project manager from the rival company. What are you doing here? Seeing them made Meng Qing's already irritated mood even worse. Manager Lu sneered. Ms. Meng, Dr. Cui has already sold the patent for the anti-gastric cancer drug to us. We're here to retrieve all the research formulas from you to avoid any future misunderstandings about patent infringement. Hearing this, Meng Qing was stunned for a moment before bursting into anger. Impossible. Ms. Meng, here is Dr. Cui's signature. Manager Lu took out the document I had signed and handed it to Meng Qing, who glanced at it and angrily threw it aside. Impossible. She couldn't believe I would be so heartless to her. Why impossible? This shows Dr. Cui has finally come to his senses. Back then, we offered him the position of vice president, company stock options, a seaside villa, and luxury cars, but Dr. Cui wouldn't budge. At that time, I really didn't know what he was thinking. Our company was so big, but he refused to come and insisted on staying with President Meng, and he stayed for 8 years. I really don't know what President Meng did to make someone like him call our president's song in the middle of the night, offering to sell the patent. How could President Song refuse such a business opportunity that came knocking? Song Qingyin was my junior fellow student during my graduate studies. After I changed my major, she continued studying ophthalmology, and we lost touch. After graduation, she repeatedly tried to get me to join her company, but I refused because of Meng Qing. Later, our companies became rivals, and we lost contact with each other. Selling the patent to her was a decision I made after careful consideration. I needed the special medicine to save my life, and Song Qingyin needed to prove herself. We reached an agreement immediately, as it was mutually beneficial. Manager Lu's words hit Meng Qing's heart one by one. She screamed impossible in near breakdown and ran out of the company. The engine roared as Meng Qing floored the accelerator, completely unaware of Su Shiyuan following behind her. She felt like everything was slipping out of her control. Meng Qing anxiously ran back home, searching everywhere, but found that all of my belongings were gone. The display cabinet in the living room, which used to hold various photos and mementos, was completely empty. Throughout the entire house, Meng Qing couldn't find any trace of my existence. At this moment, she truly began to. Oh, panic. Suddenly, Meng Qing noticed some documents on the table. Seeing the words divorce agreement, Meng Qing stepped back in disbelief. When she turned to the gastric cancer diagnosis report at the back, Meng Qing's eyes widened, and she collapsed to the ground. She held these two documents with trembling hands, staying stunned for a while before seeming to remember something. She hurriedly searched through her bag for her phone and started making calls, not caring that her bag worth hundreds of thousands was carelessly thrown on the floor. Dozens of calls, but no one answered. Meng Qing's heart sank deeper with each unanswered call. Meanwhile, I had already arrived at the National Research Institute. Dr. Cui, welcome to the Research Institute. With talented people like you, I believe our country's pharmaceutical industry will definitely keep getting better. Dean Gao warmly received me. Thank you for your trust. I will definitely devote myself to drug research and development in the future, striving to serve our country. Hearing my words, Dean Gao was very pleased and took me to my future workplace. While I was getting on track here, little did I know that Meng Qing, after failing to find me at all possible places, kept trying to confront Song Qinin. Meng Qing was convinced that I had stomach cancer, and she had sold the patent to Song Qinin, so Song Qinin must know my whereabouts. But Song Qinin kept avoiding her. After several days of attempting to confront her, Meng Qing finally met Song Qinin. Tell me where Cui Yifan is. He still has stomach cancer now. He needs me. Meng Qing cornered Song Qinin in her office, asking anxiously. Now you're worried? What were you doing when Senior was sick? You were attending academic exchanges with your new love. What were you doing when Senior was receiving treatment in the hospital? You were traveling with your new love. Now that you need him, you suddenly remember him? Upon hearing Song Qingin's words, Meng Qing was momentarily speechless. After a pause, she explained, It's not like that. Su Shiyuan and I are just friends. I haven't. You know very well in your heart whether that's true or not. Now that the child is gone, you finally remember to care? Why didn't you do something earlier? Ask yourself honestly, how has your senior treated you all these years? And how have you repaid him? I absolutely won't tell you where my senior is. Song Qingyin was one of the few people who knew about our marriage. Back when the company was just starting, we only got our marriage certificate without holding a ceremony. But somehow Song Qingyin found out and sent me a red envelope as a wedding gift. Seeing that Song Qingyin refused to reveal my whereabouts, Meng Qing anxiously tried to explain and even attempted to kneel down, but was stopped and escorted out. As Meng Qing anxiously tried to re-enter Min Pharmaceuticals, she received a call from the company's secretary. Ms. Meng, there's a lawyer at the company. They said they couldn't contact you and couldn't find you at home, so they came to the company. Please come back quickly. A lawyer? Seeing the divorce agreement I left, Meng Qing guessed I must have entrusted the divorce to a lawyer. Unable to get any information about me from Song Qingyin, Meng Qing thought she might learn something from the lawyer. So she hurriedly drove back to the company, running several red lights and getting multiple points deducted from her license along the way. Where is Cui Yifan? As soon as Meng Qing saw the lawyer, she asked about my whereabouts. Hello, Ms. Meng. I'm Lawyer Wang, the divorce attorney appointed by Mr. Cui. My duty is to have you sign the divorce agreement. Where is Cui Yifan? Hearing the lawyer's words, Meng Qing remained unmoved and persistently asked about my whereabouts. I'm sorry, Ms. Meng, but I don't know. Even if I did, I couldn't disclose client privacy. It's my professional obligation. Please don't put me in a difficult position. Meng Qing ignored the lawyer's words and said emotionally, however much Cui Yifan paid you, I'll double it. Just tell me where he is. Lawyer Wang looked helpless and said, Ms. Meng, if you don't cooperate, my client will file for divorce. As soon as Lawyer Wang finished speaking, Meng Qing became angry with embarrassment. File for divorce? On what grounds? Hearing Meng Qing's words, Lawyer Wang, as if prepared, pulled out a file folder from his briefcase. Just as he was about to hand it to Meng Qing, Su Shiyuan arrived. Qing, please calm down. When Meng Qing saw Su Shiyuan, it was as if she'd found her savior. Qing, quick, make him tell me where Yifan is. Su Shiyuan was taken aback by Meng Qing's words. Then, with a smile on his lips but still pretending to be concerned, he asked, I heard a lawyer came. Is Brother Yifan wanting to divorce you? Yes, but I don't agree. Meng Qing said excitedly. Qing, don't get excited. If it helps find Brother Yifan, getting divorced first isn't such a big deal. He'll definitely show up when it's time to get the divorce certificate. Hearing Su Shiyuan's words, Meng Qing's expression seemed to soften, but she still refused to sign. At this moment, the lawyer spoke. Ms. Meng, Mr. Cui has entrusted us with full authority regarding the divorce. Here's a document. Please take a look. Lawyer Wang handed the file folder to Meng Qing again, which he hadn't had the chance to give earlier. Meng Qing's face turned pale when she saw the contents inside. Inside were photos of her and Su Shiyuan together, photos of them traveling, attending conferences, and shopping together. After looking at several photos, Meng Qing still stubbornly said, This doesn't prove anything. I won't divorce. Ms. Meng, you haven't finished looking. Please continue with the documents below. Following the lawyer's words, Meng Qing continued to look through, but she didn't expect to find even more intimate photos and messages below. I suppose you've guessed who I am by now. A sensible person would know to leave. Qing loves me the most. You know what? We slept together the very day I returned to the country. While nobody knows yet, get divorced quickly or everyone will know you're being cheated on. How embarrassing would that be? Upon seeing the photos and messages, Meng Qing was furious and slapped him. Su Shiyuan, didn't you say nothing happened between us that night? Why are there these photos? Was it you? And these messages, did you send them to Yi Fan? Why did you do this? The more Meng Qing spoke, the more agitated she became, slapping Su Shiyuan several more times. If it wasn't for you, how would he have divorced me? It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Su Shiyuan grabbed Meng Qing's arm, the veins on his hands visible with tension. Meng Qing, look clearly. I'm Su Shiyuan, not Cui Yi Fan. I won't indulge you. What did I do wrong? Don't play dumb here. When a single man and woman drink and end up in the same bed, even a fool knows what would happen. I only said nothing happened to put your mind at ease, and you actually believed it? If you hadn't been so ambiguous and hesitant to take the next step, would I have sent those photos to Cui Yi Fan? Isn't this exactly what you wanted? Why are you pretending? Upon hearing Su Shiyuan's words, Meng Qing struggled desperately, breaking free from his restraint, and slapped him again. How did you become like this? Was your previous behavior all just an act? Just as Meng Qing's angry words fell, Su Shiyuan burst into laughter. Haha, Meng Qing, Miss Meng, why are you still so naive? All these years, Cui Yifan has protected you too well. Why do you believe everything others say? Back then, I just found opportunities to appear when you needed help and flirted with you a few times. You fell for me so easily. If I hadn't gone abroad, would Cui Yifan have had a chance? You're shameless. Unable to contain herself any longer, Meng Qing shouted and raised her hand to slap Su Shiyuan again. But he grabbed her wrist and pushed her aside. I'm shameless. How could I have succeeded if you hadn't responded? You were the one who eagerly approached me when you heard I was coming back to the country. When something's offered on a silver platter, how could I refuse? It's your fault for neglecting Cui Yifan, not even knowing he had cancer, and wanting to give his position and achievements to me. Didn't you bring this all upon yourself? Now that he wants a divorce, you should just divorce me quickly. It's better for everyone. Otherwise, if I expose everything, can you bear the consequences for you and your company? Meng Qing, who had collapsed on the ground, remained unresponsive to Su Shiyuan's words. Lawyer Wang, who had witnessed everything, spoke up. Excuse me, but you two should resolve your personal matters privately. Ms. Meng, my time is limited. Please sign the divorce agreement as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will have to file a lawsuit against you on behalf of my client. Hearing Lawyer Wang's words, Meng Qing seemed to come to her senses. She stood up, took the pen, and signed the divorce agreement decisively, each stroke pressing through the paper. Then Meng Qing asked Lawyer Wang, now that I've signed, can you be my attorney? I want to sue Su Shiyuan for rape. Lawyer Wang called to tell me that Meng Qing had signed and entrusted him to handle a new case. This turn of events was unexpected. However, I had already begun a new life. 5 years later, the special medicine for bone cancer that my team and I developed was successfully launched. Congratulations, Professor Cui. I heard about it all. The special medicine developed by your team was particularly successful. Dean Gao said there would be a commendation for your team. Du Mingxin's bright voice rang in my ears. Upon hearing it, my lips curved into an involuntary smile. Thank you. Professor Du, may I have the honor of treating you to a celebratory meal? Of course, I'd be delighted. Du Mingxin is my current girlfriend. 5 years ago, when I first joined the Research Institute, I not only had to quickly adapt to the new work and new interpersonal relationships, but also needed to treat my stomach cancer. Although I took the medicine that Song Qingyu sent every month, this illness still had a significant impact on my life. At a seminar, I met Du Mingxin from another department's team at the Research Institute, and we quickly became friends. Later, after learning about my situation, she would come every day to make sure I ate on time, and gradually my illness got better. She was confident, optimistic, and enthusiastic, like a little son every day. You couldn't tell at all that she was a researcher in her normal life, and even I became more cheerful because of her influence. However, when working, she was very serious and meticulous, pursuing perfection. During breaks, we would go to concerts together, tease each other when facing difficulties, watch shows and play chess when bored. Because of Du Mingxin, my life became more colorful. After knowing each other for 2 years, we naturally got together. Although I was somewhat disappointed in marriage because of Meng Qing, I didn't let myself get stuck in that mindset. Du Mingxin was very good to me, and I was deeply moved. So, I proposed to Du Mingxin. Meng Xian, before meeting you, I thought I would never fall in love with anyone again. But after meeting you, I discovered that life is more than just a noun. Your smile, your sincerity, your wisdom, they all deeply attract me. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? I nervously looked at Du Meng Xian. Although I knew the answer would likely be positive, my hand holding the ring was still trembling. Yes, I will. The moment I heard her say yes, I excitedly pulled her into my arms. Soon after, we both took leave to go home and hold our wedding. When Dean Gao heard about it, he happily gave us a big red envelope as a gift. When Dean Gao said, "Don't waste those good genes. Hurry up and have a chubby baby." Meng Xian's face turned red with embarrassment. On our wedding day, the weather was beautiful, with blue skies, white clouds, and grass as green as carpet. Mr. Cui, do you take Ms. Du Mingxin as your wife, to love, care for, respect, accept, and be faithful to her in sickness and in health, until death do you part? Just as I was about to say I do to the officiant's question, a voice broke through everything. I object. The person who came was actually Meng Qing, and I couldn't even recognize her at first. Her original weight of about 220 pounds had dropped to around 160 pounds, leaving her almost skin and bones. Her gaunt face was covered with a thick layer of powder, and even the blush couldn't hide her exhausted appearance. She was wearing the wedding dress from our wedding, but her emaciated body couldn't fill it out at all, making it look more like a large curtain draped over her. Cui Yifan, I regret it. Can we reconcile? Can I still be your bride? Hearing Meng Qing's words, I replied without hesitation, Meng Qing, not everything gets a second chance. I have a new love now, and I will spend the rest of my life loving and caring for her. We will grow old together. What about me? Meng Qing shouted with tears streaming down her face, as if I were some heartless scoundrel. At this moment, the wedding guests recognized Meng Qing and began to gossip. Isn't that Meng Qing? I used to like her, but I can't believe she cheated. I heard she didn't cheat, but rather she was, and then she filed a lawsuit? My great-aunt's granddaughter works at Meng Qing's company. She said Meng Qing was always flirting with others. That's why Xiao Cui divorced her. How dare she show her face here? She didn't cherish what she had before, and now she's here playing the victim. I heard she went bankrupt long ago. Amidst the gossip, I picked up the microphone and said, Meng Qing, please stop harassing me and my wife. Otherwise, I will call the police. Hearing my words, Meng Qing seemed to lose all strength and collapsed to the ground. I don't care about any of this. Just have someone drag her out. This is my wedding day, and I won't allow anyone to ruin it. Later I learned that after Meng Qing took Su Shiyuan to court, Su Shiyuan angrily paid people to leak various photos of them both. He even portrayed himself as a poor victim being forcefully kept by a female CEO, attempting to confuse right and wrong through public opinion and ruin Meng Qing's reputation. But he didn't know that water can both float and sink a boat. Originally, even after Meng Qing took it to court, not many people knew about their affairs, but now the whole internet knows. After all, when they were photographed at the amusement park before, the topic of rising medical genius and beautiful female CEO had trended, with everyone turning into jealous onlookers. Who would have thought that soon after, the rising medical genius would claim he was forced into the relationship, while the beautiful CEO accused him of rape? Internet users couldn't distinguish truth from lies at first, and all turned into Sherlock Holmes trying to dig out the truth. With this exposure, everything was revealed. Meng Qing's secret marriage, her intimacy with Su Shiyuan while I was sick, our divorce, and the fact that Su Shiyuan hadn't even graduated from graduate school abroad and had faked his academic credentials. Someone even uncovered that when they first met in college, the so-called heroic rescue that Meng Qing talked about was actually a stage scene orchestrated by Su Shiyuan. Now, both of them were thoroughly exposed. Su Shiyuan was sentenced to 8 years in prison for multiple crimes, including academic fraud and rape. As for Meng Qing, due to public opinion and Song Qingyu's timely market recovery, she was forced into bankruptcy and developed severe depression. I heard that she disappeared after my wedding. Some say they saw her under a bridge, others say they spotted her in the countryside, but none of that matters to me anymore. Because my most important task right now is to change the